Hey guys, welcome back to Embers and Ash. My name's Ashley, if you didn't know, and today we are doing a Q&A on my pregnancy. I am now 20 weeks pregnant, so I've made it to the halfway mark and felt like a Q&A was appropriate, especially because, it's been a bit of a rocky road. Thought I'd take on some questions from you guys. I'll show you my bump. This is 20 weeks pregnant. I'm carrying very high, like I did last time. I don't know if that means I'm having a boy again. I don't know how much of that is true and how much is just made up. Before we get into you guys' questions, I do have to talk about today's sponsor, who is Ritual. I've been using Ritual's prenatals for a little while now and been loving them with how easy they are in my stomach and how convenient they are just to take in general. Their reinvented capsule is made to be a slow, delayed release, so it's gentle on the stomach, specifically in the first trimester when my stomach was very sensitive. It's nice to have something like this that's gentle and isn't going to make you feel not great. The other thing is that it dissolves in your small intestine. That means you can have it without food, which has been huge for me. My first pregnancy, it was super easy to keep up with pills, but now chasing after a toddler, I have a hard time remembering to do it if it's not just once a day. The way these work is you take 2 a day, but you take them at the same time. So I take mine before bed every night because I find that's just when I remember. In the morning, I'd never remember because I'm responding to Rook's cries. So I'm just loving how much easier this has made my life with, again, how convenient it is to take. They also have a light lemon flavor, which is really pleasant and not too overwhelming, and it helps when you're taking them without any food. The prenatal is formulated with 12 key ingredients for before and after pregnancy that help support neural tube development, fetal brain development, red blood cell development, and bone health. The nutrients are also in a form that your body can actually use, like they use folate instead of folic acid, because 1/3 of the population actually has a hard time processing folic acid. They're also vegan friendly, non-GMO, gluten-free, and formulated without major allergens. If you guys want to try out Ritual's vitamins, check out the link in the description and use my code EMBERS20 for 20% off your first month. Also, you do get a 30-day guarantee, so there's no risk. Thank you again to Ritual for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into your questions. I need tips on room sharing. Not so much a question, but still a question. So I don't really have tips per se because I haven't actually done it yet, but I'll tell you my plan. If you follow me on Instagram, I was debating whether or not I should get a second crib, have them both in the 1 bedroom and 2 cribs. I decided against that because I don't know when Rook is going to graduate out of his crib. It really depends on when he learns that he can try and climb out, because then it's a hazard. And I don't want to buy a second crib just for like 6 months of use. So the plan is to keep Rook in the singular crib until he no longer needs it. Ideally, he would make it until he's 2.5, because at that point, the new baby is going to be 6 months old, and that child can graduate into Rook's crib, and then Rook will go onto a floor bed. In the meantime, we will keep the baby in their bassinet as long as they still fit in it, hopefully. If you remember, we kept Rook in our room for only 3 months, so we'll probably do that again depending on how the child's sleep goes, and then we'll just move the bassinet to the kids' room and they'll stay in the bassinet but not in our room. That's the plan. We will see how it actually goes. I am also nervous about 2 kids in 1 room, more specifically a baby in the same room as a toddler. But I know people do it all the time, especially with like today's world and housing situations. A lot of kids share a room, and from what I hear, the oldest just gets used to the youngest crying sometimes. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. Someone asked how we'll go about doing sleep training with the kids sharing a room. That is a great question, and something I think we're gonna test out as it goes. So we do gentle sleep training, if you didn't know, and I think that, like I said, the plan, as long as the baby's the same as Rook, the plan is that they'll stay in our room for 3 months. At that point, they will go through their first sleep regression, and so we'll do the sleep training in our room, probably. And then after that, it really should be spotty. Again, it really depends what kind of child we have, because Rook was a certain way. That doesn't mean the next child's going to be the same, but I'm basing my thoughts off of them being the same as Rook because that's what I know. Rook only took a couple days to sleep train, pretty common with children. So I assume even if we run into bumps along the road, it will disrupt Rook's sleep for a couple days and not be a big deal. That's what I'm hoping for. How's the dandruff going? That's hilarious. If you listen to my podcast, you would know about this, but I know not everyone does. So one of my pregnancy symptoms has been dandruff, which I didn't even realize was a pregnancy thing until I read about it online because I'm not prone to dandruff. It just came up while I was pregnant. Anyways, I didn't want to have to go out and buy special shampoos and such for it. Felt like a waste. And so I talked about it on my podcast, and some of you recommended apple cider vinegar with rosemary tea, like doing a soak on your hair with that. And I didn't do the rosemary, I did the apple cider vinegar, and it worked perfectly. One wash with apple cider vinegar and it all went away. So if you're pregnant or not and struggling with dandruff, try that. But thank you for asking. The dandruff is all gone. Will you put Rook in any daycare or have any other type of help? That's a great question. I've wondered myself about daycare options. I mean, I don't want to have to pay for daycare. That's a big one. And I also want to be able to enjoy these few years I have with him one-on-one. But some days it gets frustrating, and I wonder if maybe like once a week, twice a week would be really helpful for me. Because you guys know I struggle with not getting my like full life's fulfillment out of just being a mom. So, and I always say that, and I shouldn't. It's not just being a mom, but being a stay-at-home mom. So I really don't know where life is going to take me. We have family members that will babysit often if we ask, but there's no like daycare plans right now. I do wonder how I'm going to get my work done with a toddler and a baby though. Keeping up with housework and meals while exhausted. Any helpful shortcuts? I did do a video on this topic, how to survive the first trimester. I made it through. I had a hard time. I would just try and allow myself to nap during Rook's naps, even if that meant I wasn't getting as much work done. Meals were very difficult. I was opting for the easiest options, not necessarily the healthiest options, and holding no guilt over that because just trying to get by. I also have suggested the meal kits. Really enjoyed that in my first trimester because it gets delivered to your house, 30-minute meals, you make them yourself. It's all set up for you, set up for success. So yeah, it's never gonna be ideal, but you just want to survive. Are you sticking to the same stroller or considering a new one? Yes, I'm sticking to the same stroller. If you don't know, we have the Thule Sleek stroller, which I intentionally got as my first stroller because it does convert into a double, knowing that I wanted more than one kid. I was planning on buying the whatever you call that, the second seat for it. But we actually have friends who have the second seat for it, so they're letting us borrow that. Perfect. I was thinking about getting the, what do you call that thing? It's like a little board with wheels that you put on the back so that a toddler can stand on that. I just don't know what Rook is going to prefer, having the second seat to sit in or being able to stand and be pulled along. So I'm really thankful that we had to borrow the second seat because that justifies buying the little attachment, like I said. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I've been loving the stroller, definitely sticking with it. How is this pregnancy different from the last? Definitely the biggest difference is my fatigue. Holy moly, I like never napped last pregnancy until the third trimester, and napping is like my whole world right now. So that's really frustrating, especially when I have a toddler this time around. It would have been a lot easier if all my naps were last time. But it is what it is. Besides that, it's been fairly similar. Like, my sickness went away after the first trimester. Like I said, I'm carrying the same way so far. Yeah, that's about it. What do you think you need ASAP for the baby? First time mom in 6 weeks here. Congrats. That is coming up very quick. For myself, things I need ASAP, diapers. I think that's it. Like we really, oh, and we were getting a new bassinet because our last one sucked. But as long as you have all the same things from last time, you don't really need anything. Like I said, I've bought 2 items of clothing. We also don't know the gender, so, you know, if it's a girl, maybe I'll buy more girly things, but also probably not. For a first-time mom, though, there are a lot of things you need to buy. It's really nice how second time around you have everything covered for the most part. I will suggest once again checking out my minimalist baby essentials video. If you're a first time mom, I lay out everything that every first time mom needs, trying to help prevent moms from overbuying. But yeah, this time around, it's just things I want for fun. What are you most nervous or excited for when the new baby comes? Funny enough, I was just thinking about this the other day and talking to Josh. I have finally hit 20 weeks, which I was very scared for over the past month because it's a big marker and, you know, the anxieties of the baby's coming soon were creeping in. But all of a sudden in this particular past week, I've really come to terms with it and I'm almost getting excited for the baby. I don't know what changed, but I'm not so scared anymore. I don't know what to tell you. I guess it's just with enough time and intentionality, I've been able to process it. But I'm excited for, you know, newborn cuddles. I'm excited for a baby that sleeps on my chest because, you know, Rook's too old for that now. I'm excited for breastfeeding. It was such a cool bonding experience last time. Things I'm nervous for, definitely the lack of sleep with a toddler is going to be very difficult, but I know I just have to get through it. And then the other thing I'm excited for is when both kids are on the same schedule, and I feel like that's when our family is really going to thrive. Do you feel obligated to do better during your second pregnancy in the sense of eating healthy and exercising? I do not feel obligated at all. I have not done well at this at all. I shouldn't say that. I feel like my diet has been really good lately. I'm not on any particular diet restrictions. I still eat chocolate if I feel like it, but we're eating a lot of homemade meals and good ingredients, but still allowing, you know, treats. It's just not restrictive, and I feel like we're eating good, real food. So I'm feeling really good about that. Exercise has been horrible. I have never been this weak in my life because I've always had some sort of physical activity thing going on, whether it's work or sports, and I'm doing neither of those right now. Like my work is sitting down on a computer, filming videos. So I've been meaning to figure out some sort of exercise, but I'm really not one to do exercises just to exercise. Like I said, I've always just had things in my life that made me active. I've dipped in and out of yoga for the past few years, which I have really enjoyed, but right now feel no motivation to do it. So I don't know. I don't feel any guilt over it. I just wish I was more active. How have you been prepping Rook for baby's arrival? It's been very interesting seeing Rook's growth over the past 4 or 5 months, almost 6 months, however long I've been pregnant, because when I got pregnant, I felt like he was a teeny tiny baby, even though he was over 1, and you know, he wasn't really talking much. But now, like, he'll see my belly and go, baby, baby. And we did buy this one book that, I'll put it on the screen. It's really cute. It talks about how your first child had all these special firsts. It doesn't so much focus on how, like, the new baby's coming, but it talks about how special your first child is, which I really like. Other than that, I don't know. I feel like he's young enough that hopefully we can just transition into it and figure it out, because he doesn't really understand what's going on. Like, we tell him there's a baby in my belly, and he'll say there's a baby in my belly, but he doesn't understand what that means, you know? So I think there's only so much we can do. I'm hoping. I could just be shooting myself in the foot. Are you going to share what the gender is? No, most of you know we're not finding out the gender. This time around, I almost want to find out the gender just because it's been so hard figuring out names, and I would really love if I only had to figure out one gender's name, not both. It would just be easier, but I remember last time finding out at the birth that Rook was a boy was the best. So I'm not going to give that up. Do you feel prepared? I don't know. I feel like you can't. I thought this was just for the first pregnancy, like the first baby, but it might also be true maybe every time you have a baby. I feel like you can't really fully prepare yourself. You just have to take it on as it is. Like, you know, buy the things, read the books, whatever. But the hesitation I have with saying that I feel prepared is that you don't know what kind of child you're gonna get. And that's where my anxieties come from, are in things like, what if this baby has colic? That would totally change the way our experience would go. So I feel like I'm prepared for the most part with all the things, like I've said, and emotionally I'm really like progressing to the point where I'm like gonna be ready for that baby, but I don't think you can get 100% there. Okay, someone asked, what are items you're planning on investing in now that you have 2 kids? Any items you didn't get for baby number 1 that you plan to get this time around? I am gonna be doing a video on the baby items that I will be buying. I know I just said that I don't really need anything, but now that I'm really thinking about it, there are a few things I'm getting. There will be a video. Things I'm planning on investing in. I made most of my investments the first time. Anything I'm investing in now is something that I regret not investing in the first time, like a bassinet. We got just a secondhand bassinet, and it was horrible. It caused Rook to puke more. It made him wake up often just because it was uncomfortable and uneven. And I wish I just had bought something nicer. My hesitation was that you only use it for 3 to 6 months. I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars on it, but now I'm like, those 3 to 6 months are crucial for your sleep. It's a good time to invest, especially when you can use it for multiple kids and hopefully sell it after. Besides that, the stroller accessories, I guess, are an investment. But yeah, I think that's everything I'm investing in. What is giving birth in Canada like right now? Very interesting question. I assume you're talking about pandemic protocols. I actually don't know because things are changing all the time. I assume by the time I give birth, it will still just be one person in the hospital with you because healthcare facilities are going to be the last to loosen up regulation. I do have a ultrasound next week, and this past week they loosened rules, just the province did. So I was gonna call in and ask if I can have more people in, if my son can come, but I feel like they're gonna say no. Other than that, giving birth in Canada is fantastic. It is free. I cannot believe the price tags I see online about C-sections versus vaginal versus home births. Blows my mind. I'm very thankful to be living here, is the moral of the story. Have you found a baby name yet? Do you have any you love that your husband hates or vice versa? Oh man, like I said, baby names have been very difficult. We have our girl name from last time that we still both like, but boy names are so hard. Especially, I didn't realize this would be a problem, but you have to make sure that it works with your other kid's name. Like there's been some names that we like, but they don't work with Rook's name. Like we both like Link, but we can't do Link and Rook because they're both single syllable and both end in K. It's just too similar. So it's weird that I have to throw that into the equation. I am gonna do 2 videos on baby names, girls and boys names, but I'm not doing it until we're settled on our names that we've chosen so that I don't accidentally spill the name we're using. We recently both decided on a name that we both like and it feels good, because that's my issue, is there'll be names that I really like but doesn't feel right for our family. So that's been exciting, and it's only been like a week of this, so I'm waiting to see if the name sticks. The names that one of us hates, the others likes, I'm gonna save those for the baby names video. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I answered most of your questions. Sorry if I didn't get to all of them. Thank you guys for watching. Leave any other questions you have and I'll try and type up some responses for you. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.